You know, frankly, that oil and gas sustain the Nigeria economy. And Urhobo ethnic nationality produces high quantum in oil and gas. In fact, today, we have over 350 producing oil wells, producing in high quantity. And the Urhobo is crisscrossed with a lot of gas and crude oil pipeline. But today, in the Nigeria project, we are nowhere to be found. For example, look at the composition of the board of NNPC, where you have the two executive directors are Northerners, people who do not produce oil and gas. Meanwhile, the Urhobo ethnic nationality that produce oil and gas in large quantity, what Urhobo produces alone is more than Imo, Edo, and Ondo put together. That tells you the quantum of oil we produce. We don't have a sitting member in the board of NNPC. And again, you have a PTDF. PTDF trains people yearly on overseas scholarship. You cannot see any Urhobo man, any Urhobo daughter that is on the list of that scholarship. You see names like Abdullahi, you see names like Adamu, and so on and so forth. People who come from areas that do not bear the brunt of the oil production. Today, we the Urhobo people cannot farm. We cannot also fish. Our ecosystem has been bastardized. And the oil and gas we produce in the entire petroleum sector, we are nowhere to be found. For example, they decided to casualize our people. If you go to Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company, our people are casuals. If you look at all the strategic business units in the oil and gas, our people are not there. For example, NNPC has about 55 chief executive or executive directors. Out of these 55, you have 36 for Northern Nigeria, and you have 16 for the entire Southern Nigeria. So Urhobos are nowhere to be found. That the federal government, at the federal level, that is not a law. Even at the state level, we are being shortchanged. For example, 30% is being given to the state government. And in Delta State, we have a law called the Sopadec Law. 50% of the 30% ought to be given to the commission called the Sopadec, Delta State Oil Producing Area Development Commission, for the development of the oil producing areas. We cannot have projects from the Sopadec that is commensurate to the quantum of the oil we produce from that 50%. And in fact, the sharing formula that goes on in the Sopadec today is a mere allocation of figure. Okay. It ought to be on production.
Okay, but with due respect, the governor of Delta State, Sheriff Obiuwevbi, is an Urhobo man. Why are you complaining about the Sopadec, that Urhobo's interests are not being met, when the governor is an Urhobo man?
Thank you very much for this question. The governor is an Urhobo man. We are talking of age-long neglect of the Urhobo people. For example, Urogan has called on the state government to reach out to the appropriate federal government structure or office to give us the quantum of production. Until the quantum of production of each of the ethnic nationality in Delta State is gotten from the appropriate government office, in this case, Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the mere allocation is an injustice to the Urhobo people. Because today, in the Sopadec, the Urhobo people working there are suffering. Okay. They are being treated like second-class citizens.
So all of this is music to my ears. They are suffering, but the governor is an Urhobo man. I mean that because what concerns have you raised Well, the governor. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the state that pretty much runs the sopa deck. So, why have you not raised these concerns with the governor of the state? And why are you crying marginalization? A lot of people will look at you and say, Edo, we should not play this regional or ethnic politics. It's not good for national development. But I say you are crying marginalization in a state where the governor is an Urhobo man.
In fact, the marginalization is of two strata, from the federal government and even at the state level.
So let's deal with, so are you saying,
let me tell you.
Hang on a minute, are you saying that it's an Urhobo man-led state government that is now marginalizing the Urhobo people? Is that what you're saying? That administration of Governor Sheriff Obiuwevbi is marginalizing Urhobo people? Is that what you're saying?
For example,
is that what you're saying?
The 8-year tenure of Governor. Let me answer that question.
Okay.
For example, the 8-year tenure of Governor Okowa, Urhobos did not benefit, frankly speaking, because if that 50% was actually moved to Desopade, released to Desopade, and those monies were used for the oil-producing area, we will benefit a lot. That is why we are calling on Governor Sheriff to reach out to the federal government appropriate office to give us the quantum of production for ethnic nationality.